everyone, and welcome back. Today I'm going to be reviewing two sets of Parkoo pens. Parkoo kindly reached out to me and sent me these pens to review, but I can assure you that all of my thoughts and opinions today are honest. So the two pens I'm going to be reviewing today are the Erasable Gel Pens in the 20 color set and the Retractable Gel Pens in the 14 color set. The retractable gel pens come in 14 different colors, and the thickness is 0.7 millimeters with a bullet tip. Each pen comes with a wax cover to ensure that it hasn't been used before. The design of the pen is simple. There's no grip, but it is pretty comfortable to use. There's also a clip at the top so you can easily attach it to binders, folders, etc., and the clicking mechanism works quite well. The design overall resembles a pretty typical retractable pen. I was pleasantly surprised with how the pen writes though. It lays down on the page quite smoothly and is pretty easy to write with. The ink does lift up occasionally in some awkward places, but there's almost no skipping or railroading most of the time. The texture of the ink feels very similar to using a Uniball Signo retractable gel pen, but almost better in a way because it's bolder and evens out quite well on the page. You can see how bold and smooth the ink is here. For the smudge test, I wrote a few words down and waited about 5 seconds before going over it with a regular highlighter, and it unfortunately smudged a lot. It didn't smudge as much when I repeated the same process but using a Crayola Super Tips marker, but you can still see that a little bit of the ink smeared. I was a little disappointed with these results, especially because the pens were advertised as fast drying. But to be fair, the outcome might vary with the type of highlighter you use, and I only tested after 5 seconds. I'm sure if you were to wait longer, there wouldn't be that much of a problem. For the color range, there are 14 different colors to choose from in this set. They were all quite pretty, and I liked every one of the shades. I also appreciated that they were bright and bold and actually true to their names. However, the yellow that came in my set unfortunately seemed a little bit damaged. It wasn't very easy to see the ink, and there was a lot of skipping and railroading that I saw when using it. But other than that, I was very happy with all of these shades. Overall, the pens did smudge when highlighted right away, and one of the colors in my set came a bit damaged. But other than that, I really enjoyed using these pens and can't wait to use them for taking notes, journaling, and more going forward. The design is quite simple, and the writing is smooth with minimal skipping or railroading. I would recommend these if you don't need to highlight your writing right away and if you like smooth, bold, and colorful ink. As I said before, these are definitely a great alternative to the Uniball Signo gel pens and also the Pilot G2 retractable pens. The erasable gel pens come in 20 different colors, and they also have a 0.7 millimeters bullet tip that comes with a wax cover. I was really happy with the design of this pen. It's minimal and has a sort of elegance to it that I love. This has a clicking mechanism just like the other pens, and it works quite smoothly. It also has a built-in grip that makes it easier to hold, as well as an eraser at the top. I didn't know what to expect when testing the actual writing of these pens, but I was surprised in mostly a good way. The pen does take a little bit to warm up when you first start to use it, but after around a minute, the ink will even out. As you can see here, the ink flows quite smoothly and doesn't have that weird feel to it like some other erasable pens sometimes do. And now to test the most important part of a pen, which is the eraser. It actually erases really well. The only thing I didn't like was how it left an indent on the page, but that's understandable since it removes by friction. But thankfully you can tell that most of the ink actually is removed and seems like it's disappeared from the page. When writing on top of something that was just erased, surprisingly, you could still see the ink quite boldly, and it wasn't that hard to write on top of. Obviously, it does leave a bigger indent the second time erasing. If you take a closer look, you can see that these pens do tend to skip sometimes, and there is some railroading, such as these places I'm pointing to here. Other than that, and the indent left on the page after erasing, I do like the smoothness and bold tone of these pens and wouldn't mind using them again. When testing how well these pens stood up to smudging, I was actually really happy with the results. They barely smudge after around 5 seconds and highlighting with the normal highlighter, and it's the same when I highlighted with a Crayola Super Tips marker. I was excited to test out all of the colors in the set, especially after seeing the variety of 20 different shades, and I ended up liking mostly all of them. My only problem was that the slate gray looked a little bit more like a purple than an actual gray, and the black looked more like a gray. Other than that though, there's a pretty selection of shades to use and the colors are all bright and bold. Overall, I really like the minimal, elegant design of these pens and it feels so nice to hold them in your hands. The writing is smooth except for a few skips and sometimes railroading, and the eraser manages to remove the ink quite well, although it still does leave a small indent in the page. The pens rarely smudge when highlighted, and the selection of bright colors is also wonderful. I would recommend these for taking notes if you don't want to have to worry about messing up. These would also be great for journaling or doodling, and they're a great alternative for the Pilot Friction Erasable Gel Pens. So that pretty much sums up my reviews of both of these pen sets. I hope you enjoyed watching this, and I will see you in my next video.